Hey fans, viewers, and listeners, welcome to another exciting episode of Fight Insight Podcast. I'm your host for today, Raine Cruz, also known as Ringside Raine, ring announcer for Up Next Fighting. And with me as always is Timmy B. Today, we will talk to Cody Brundage, who will be fighting at UFC 300. He will talk to us about his preparations for the biggest pay-per-view event for UFC so far and how he spoils his family. Plus, we will talk about the PFL versus Bellator pay-per-view. What's next for Francis Ngannou and what happened to Raul Rosas Jr. at UFC Fight Night in Mexico? All that and more. So Tim, hit it!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Insight Podcast.
Our guest today became a part of UFC history when he slammed his way to victory at UFC Austin back in December, marking the second slam KO of the night. It was also his fourth fight of the year and his second win in a row. It is an 8-fight UFC veteran who is next slated to fight at the monumental UFC 300 card as he looks to give Bo Nickal, his first professional loss. A family man, a fighter, an unprofessional breakdown fan, and I think a Dolly Parton fan. Let's bring him in to talk about it all. Raine,
please welcome Cody Brundage.
Nice, love that.
Cody is here. How you doing, Cody?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you so much for coming in. You are hard at work preparing for the monumental UFC 300 card. I do have to ask you first, what kind of honor or privilege do you feel being on this card?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge platform. I feel like, the bigger the card, the more eyes. So a good performance can do a lot for you. And 300 is the biggest there's ever been. So I'm excited for it. When they call, regardless, 300 or not, I've asked for this fight before. So I like the opponent already. And then it was just icing on the cake that it was at 300.
Yeah, nice. I saw you on another interview when I was researching for this one saying that you had kind of predicted it. You thought this was going to be the opponent. You thought this was going to be the card. I saw you saying things on other things saying hey, this guy's got a lot of smoke. I'm here to take it.
Yeah, for sure. Bo Nickal, I think, is widely regarded as the best new prospect in an MMA, and he hasn't been tested at all. This will be my 9th fight in the UFC. I've been around the block. I've had my wins. I've had my losses. But I've learned a lot on the way, and I feel like it puts me in a good position to kind of take all that clout and all that steam he has behind him. And like I said, big platform to kind of take everything he has and keep it for me.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it's going to be great. Now, we have a lot of spies in the world, that we've been doing this show. This is our 159th show, somewhere around there, 4 years in. So, Cody, we've got spies everywhere. I got some training footage of Bo Nickal that I'm going to show you, okay, so that you can be prepared. He knows that you slammed your last opponent for victory. This is how he's training. So, caution, please be aware. But this is what he's doing.
Yeah, that seems like it would probably work pretty well. I think he should continue. He should do that every day up until our fight. I think that's what he should do.
Yeah. If you are not watching the video version of this podcast, come on YouTube and Spotify. But that is Bo Nickal training, getting cracked in the head into concrete bricks. That's real footage, Cody. So
yeah, it looks super legit. So I feel confident. I know his game plan now, so I think I could take him out.
Yeah. The trick is you got to slam him on the other side of the head where he's not training.
Perfect. I mean? Yeah, I think I can do that. I'll have to watch the video a couple more times, make sure I get it right.
Okay. Play this baby back. I'll send it to you if you want in high quality. Cody, a question for you. I heard a rumor. It's a rumor that I started that Dolly Parton will be singing you to the cage.
I wish. Listen, so Dolly was my walkout I started fighting in 2017. She was my walkout from my first amateur fight all the way up until my last 2 fights. So 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. Yeah, it was solid. I got the people going for sure. I switched it up the last 2 to Fantasy by Mariah Carey, another absolute banger. So Yeah, if Dolly would walk me out, I'd be so down for that. I don't know how she'd feel about the actual fighting part, but she could definitely walk me out anytime.
I think so, man. She's old school. She's done a whole bunch of great movies and stuff like that, and she's still popular now.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
right? It's crazy,
she's
man.
timeless. Dolly's timeless.
Dolly is timeless, man. So I'm putting the call out now. Dolly Parton, if you're watching this podcast, get out here and get to UFC 300 and walk Cody Brundage out to the cage.
Oh yeah, that would be UFC 300 already the biggest UFC card. You get a Dolly Parton walkout. I don't know if it gets much better than that.
Dude, I think you become main event if you get that walkout.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
yeah, think about like WrestleManias and stuff like that when they had like Cyndi Lauper back in the day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you get Dolly
We do
Parton.
a mashup. We get Dolly Parton and Mariah Carey. Ooh,
Whoa.
now we're really talking.
It's like next level right there.
Yeah.
Money in the bank, man. Money in the bank. But seriously, any added pressure on this UFC 300 or no? This is like, no, I'm going to tear this guy apart. That's it. This is my job.
I mean, I feel like there's always pressure. Pressure is privilege. That sounds corny to say, but it's such a real thing, and it's the reason it's such a big opportunity because there's pressure. If there was no pressure and nobody cared about the fight, there wouldn't really be that big opportunity, right? So I definitely think there's pressure. I don't know if there's more pressure. I feel like I have less pressure than Bo Nickal does. He's expected to kind of run through me. That's what people think is going to happen. So the pressure is more on him. But I mean, there's definitely pressure for myself to, there's a lot of sacrifice in fighting, a lot of time away from my family. And so the pressure for me is like, make good on that sacrifice, right? And improve all the people that are putting such hard work into me, so much time and effort into me, prove them right and have a good performance. But that's the only pressure I really feel, and that's a good thing. It's motivating.
Right. And of course, you talk about your family. You've got 2 young daughters. You've got your wife, who was a former UFC fighter herself. One question I did get from a fan was, is Cody's wife mad that he ruined her nickname? Because I think now she's technically ABB, right? She's not ABC anymore.
Yeah, so she was ABC, which was a cool nickname. She was mad for a little bit, but she's gotten over it slowly but surely, I think.
Okay. All right. What about, I always feel like when someone's undefeated, right? I always feel like you said, there's that added pressure and all that, but I always feel like it never really tests someone, because one of the big things for me is always seeing how someone bounces back from adversity. And we've talked about this a million times on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, not all my favorite fighters have suffered losses, you know what I mean? But it's how they come back, which is so exciting to see and what they can do. You've got that, right? You're not undefeated. So you've been able to bounce back. How important do you think that is just for a fighter and for like young fighters watching this podcast that are so concerned or cautious about that first loss? Like, what could you say about that and how that changed you as a fighter or a man?
Well, I just think perspective's kind of everything, right? And if you've never taken a loss, it's hard to change what you're doing, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Even if what you're doing isn't enough or correct or the right thing, if you're having success with it, it's hard to change what's comfortable. It's hard to make difficult decisions. And once you have those couples losses and you're like, okay, well, I need to fix something. I need to change, whether it's how much I'm working, who I'm working with, and that's not easy to do when you have a lot of success. So I think that's one big thing that being an undefeated fighter is potentially can be problematic. You have to learn from other people, right? We always say that, like, learn from your teammates' losses. That's what we say at Factory X, because you don't have to be the one getting punched in the face to learn a lesson. And sometimes if you're the undefeated guy, you don't really listen to that, because you're like, well, that's never going to be me, right? So I think just a little bit of perspective comes with any adversity, whether it's losses or whatever. And if you haven't had that, then it's hard to make adjustments. It's hard to improve to the level maybe you could be improving, because you're like, well, I'm killing it. I don't need to do much else. Obviously, like, I'm getting the results I want. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I also feel like if you're undefeated for too long, which is a weird thing to say, the problem is that then you might get so ingrained with what you've done that then when you do suffer that first loss, you're not willing to change. But like you said, like, changing coaches, changing environment, changing strategy is so important, right? For growth.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like a big part of that is who you have around you, right? Like, if you have good people around you, they don't necessarily agree with everything you're doing. People get this confused, right? They're like, if you don't agree with me, we can't be around each other. But if you don't agree with me, then you can be like the biggest instrument to my growth. you know? And so I have a lot of people that like, I guess yes men is the term that like that's what you
Yeah.
don't want. I don't have any yes men around me or yes women, right? Like my wife is not, if she thinks I'm doing something that she doesn't agree with, like in terms of training, especially, she'll be like, you need to change this. I feel like this is my opinion on what it is. And when you get a few of those opinions, it's good. It helps you to grow. And it's hard too when you're having all the success. The people around you just want to be a part of your success, right? They don't necessarily care if it's going to be continued or not. They just know, hey, right now this is a ton of success I'm having, and I get to be a part of this train. I'm not going to be the voice that tells him, hey, change it up, and then he gets rid of me and I'm not a part of the success anymore, right? I feel like we kind of see that with some of the superstars in the sport today. Like Conor McGregor is a good example. No one's telling that guy no. No one's telling him like, hey, I think we should change this up, because no one wants to get off the gravy train of Conor McGregor. And I feel like that's probably more commonplace than having people around you that are going to try to steer you in the right direction, whether it's what you want to hear or not.
Yeah, that's true. There's one of the things that I always watch when I'm paying attention to the MMA world is there's certain gyms sometimes that kind of go in like some kind of bad slumps, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I always wonder if some of those people see the slumps going on around them and go like, I should change things up. Like it's just something that should go through your head, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like being complacent and just kind of staying in your same ways is never really a good tactic, and it doesn't really work long term, right? You always need to be evolving and changing, because that's the sport too. That's what the sport's doing. And so if you're not keeping up with that, then it'll be problems for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you gave a shout out to Factory X, and I know you train with our friends Alexa Culp and Isaac Bulgarian, so I want to say hello to them. I think they're having a girl. Are they having a baby girl?
They're having a baby girl, and then hopefully not when Isaac's gone fighting. I know it's getting crunch time. So I've done that a couple of times. Both my kids, my first daughter was born a week after a fight, and then my newest daughter was born a day after I got home from a fight. So I've been in that boat. It can be pretty stressful. Fighting's already stressful enough. So hoping that the baby girl comes soon.
Yeah, very nice. And congratulations to them. And of course, Isaac Bulgarian. I do have here his limited edition card that I supported. Yeah, it's beautiful. Do you have any limited edition?
I don't know if I'm as big a superstar as Isaac. Listen, I'll tell you right now, in my prediction, Isaac Bulgarian will be a future champ. So hold on to that. That's gonna be worth a lot of money. That kid is an absolute savage, and he's super talented. So
man.
Big things coming from that kid for sure.
Yeah, and big things coming from you, my friend. I mean, like the minute you release a card, I'm buying your card too. So get on that. Like Isaac Bulgarian knows how to make it happen. Raine, anything that you wanted to ask Mr. Cody Brundage?
Yeah, so now since we're talking about family, you have a beautiful wife, beautiful daughters. You know, you're so focused on training, right, for your upcoming fight. Now, so in the past, how do you spoil your wife after, going through all the fight training, fight camp, being away from her, and now, with your two daughters? How do you spoil your family after you're done from a fight?
I think the main thing, I've talked about this with my sports side guy, because balance isn't really a thing, right? You can't balance a fight camp and then also try to balance family, or you're giving 50% to both places. So it is tough when I'm getting ready for a fight. I'm gone. I'm not home much, and I think the way I spoil them is when I'm home. I'm just present, right? I'm present where my feet are. I'm off my phone. I'm trying to just be the best dad I can be the best husband I can be, and that's just giving them real time, right? And whether it's an hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes, like the time that I'm home, I try to give them. And then my kids and my wife are pretty spoiled. They don't hear no too often. So, that's just like, obviously like physical things that I can give them. I'm not in a position to tell them no. She's like, well, you were gone for the last week. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You can buy those shoes, or you can do what you want. So they don't hear no too often. And then I just try to be there for them. I try to be present when I am home, and try to make an impact. I could not do this without my wife. She's such a rock star, and she does so much for my kids. And it would be hard to be gone as much as I am and not know that they're being taken care of as well as they are. I know that they're getting everything they need and more. And so it makes it easy for me to train. But yeah, they get spoiled quite a bit.
That's good.
What a question, Raine. I knew that you were going to ask this, and now you're probably going to show this to your husband. My wife's going to see this. God dang it. Terrible question, Raine.
I'll show this to my husband. Hey, do not say no to me.
Look at what Cody just said. Yeah.
Yeah, and my wife has a mean overhand from her fighting days, so that's another reason I don't tell her no.
Yes. Yeah, smart move. One of the other questions that I had that came in from fans, I thought this one was good. Last week we had on Andy the Crazian Nguyen, Andy the Crazian Nguyen is how you pronounce it properly, and she looks like 18, and she's like 41. So we were talking to her about how she looks so good. The question came in: Does Cody Brundage use the same skin regimen as Andy Nguyen?
No,
My friend, you look like a young dude. Like, it's crazy how young you look.
I'm glad you're saying that. I'm gonna be 30 in May, so I tease all my older friends that fight. Like, they're not even old, but I just tell them they're old, and now I'm turning 30, so they're giving it back to me pretty hard right now. So I needed that today. I appreciate it.
Well, there you go.
But no skincare routine, just constant getting punched in the face. I guess that keeps you young. I don't know. But Andy's awesome. She used to train with Bobby. She would come to our gym in Michigan and train with Bobby. So you guys have all the cool guests.
Yeah. Wait, Bobby. Who?
My wife. I call her Bobby. Amanda.
Sorry. Okay. Yes. Wait, Bobby used to train with Andy Nguyen?
Yeah. So that her and Andrea Lee and Bobby, they all did some training together in the past. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, what a small world, man. That's crazy. Yeah. Andy's fighting up here in Canada in Calgary on March 9th for Palace Athena. So we're big fans of hers and we're supporting her. Yeah. So she's awesome.
Yeah. She's
Raine, anything else for Mr. Cody Brundage on your end?
Yeah. So, you're fighting at UFC 300, biggest pay-per-view so far for the company. Are you nervous at all? Because it's like, does it get into your head where it's like, okay, this is UFC 300. Like, is there more pressure for you? Are you nervous? Or does it feel like, you know what, it's another fight for me?
I don't know if I'm nervous because it's 300. I'm nervous always before I fight. That's just how I am. Like, I mean, I'm getting into a physical altercation with somebody, so I'm always going to be pretty nervous. Not scared, but just like, I think the nerves are good. They keep you sharp. If I don't have them, I'll be worried, right? If I'm lax, I'll be worried. So I'll definitely be nervous. I don't know if 300 makes me more nervous or not. I don't think so. I fought in front of a crowd before, sold out crowds, and 300 is a big card, but I'm just a small part of that card, and I'm only worried about my small part. I'm not worried about how the rest of the card goes, So I'm excited. I think it's awesome, but I don't think it adds more pressure that it's 300. Maybe if it was my first time fighting in front of the UFC crowd, it would, but I think I'll be all good on the crowd nerves, but I'll definitely have my fight nerves for sure.
Yeah. What about, if I'm allowed to ask, people always question about money stuff. Sponsorship, are you able to leverage this a bit? Because 300 is a big spot, man. Are you like, hey, wait a second, now the price for Cody Brundage, sponsorship?
Not really, man, to be honest. Sponsorship's
No?
it's just a tricky thing now with I have some stuff in the works, like probably more than I've had for other fights, but to really, like, unless you're a really big, like, crazy big star, I feel like it's hard to leverage. And then also because you can't really advertise for the company anymore that you would be representing, I feel like a lot of companies don't see the value in it. But I've definitely leveraged, like, more, I would say it's more like less monetary sponsorships and more like product sponsorships for this fight. And but that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a big opportunity. You go beat Bo Nickal on this stage, and then the rest of that stuff kind of comes through, because you need more like appearances. You need more stuff like this. You need, like, my opponent. He was on Joe Rogan. He has these other things that he runs, and so he has a big social media footprint or impact. So I feel like that is kind of how you open the door to sponsorships like that. And you got to win. Winning solve. My buddy Dustin Jacoby, he always says winning solves everything. So if you're winning, it's a lot easier to get that done.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to my friends that run an Instagram page called MMA Gains. It's MMA_gains, and they track how fighters do pre and post a fight. What win or lose.
That's
they
cool.
show
Yeah, I've seen them before. That is a cool thing, and it's a cool tool for people to have.
Yeah, dude. So, I'll be watching MMA Gains to see your growth after you kick Bo Nickal's ass, give him the one loss.
That's right.
And then we'll see, because that's a huge thing, right? For a fighter, you get the bigger numbers, the bigger social media numbers. That's where, it flows into dollars, right?
100%. Yeah. The more outreach you can have, the more you can sell your brand and yourself to companies.
That's right. Yeah, man, do it. I've got two final questions for you. One is, who did you think was going to be the UFC 300 main event?
it was kind of all over the place. For a minute, I thought it was going to be Connor and Michael Chandler. I was like, that makes
Sure.
sense. That both those
Yeah.
guys are huge stars. And then I thought it was going to be Aspinall and Alex Pereira. That was kind of the rumor that was floating around for the interim belt. I don't know if I ever thought it was going to be Jamal and Pereira, just because I know Jamal. Me and Jamal grew up like on the same regional scene.
Nice.
We fought on a lot of the same cards together coming up before we were in the UFC. And I just didn't know if he was going to be back or not. You know, I've seen him at the PI, and I thought he was still kind of injured. So, I mean, it's a good fight. I think it was.
Yeah, of course.
I think what he said is kind of true, right? I feel like they built it up to be this thing that was so huge that unless it was going to be like Conor McGregor or somebody like that, people weren't going to be really happy with it. There's only like 2 or 3 guys in the sport that carry the. I mean, no one carries what Conor McGregor carries, but there's 2 or 3 guys they could have put in that spot, and none of them were really available. Oh, Izzy DDP. That was the other one that I was like, okay, this could make sense, but there's not many guys that carry that star power. So if none of those guys were available, people were going to be disappointed.
We did a prediction show, and I had Brian Bam Bam Barberena on, who's a good friend, and he was certain it was going to be Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg.
That would do crazy numbers for sure.
Right. It would have been crazy, dude. And I really thought it was going to be Logan Paul versus Mike Perry.
Okay. That one would have made both those. I could have it's what a crazy world we live in now that like those aren't that far fetched. Like, yeah, that could have happened. I saw a post. It was like they should do it Royal Rumble style, not announce it, and just have their walkout music play. I'm like, that would go hard if they.
Dude, that would be crazy. The thing about that though is you need to have such iconic walkout music that you know who it is based on the music.
That's true,
right?
You need like Dolly Parton.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. There's not, in all honesty, there's not too many people that really have a song that you can totally pinpoint to that fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because a lot of people change their music too, like every fight, and But that I saw that idea, I was like, yeah, that would be kind of crazy. People would lose their mind.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. All right, Cody. Before I let you go, is there anything that you wanted to say to fans, viewers, and listeners? I got one last question for you, but is there anything that you wanted to say to fans, viewers, and listeners of the podcast?
No, just thanks for the support. I always want to shout out my gym, Factory X, and Iridium Sports, or my management, and I just always shout them out. They do a lot for me. Like I said, I feel like I'm super lucky and I'm spoiled with all the love and support I have from people around me, and so just want to recognize them. It's definitely I'm the one getting in there to fight, but it's definitely a we project, and I couldn't be there without the people around me for sure.
Yeah. For sure, man. And I've got your Instagram handle at the bottom. So guys, if you're listening to this, go follow Cody Brundage. If you're not already, why wouldn't you be? Cody _Brundage _. So go follow him. And Cody, I'm going to ask you one last question. It's a question that my mom used to ask me almost every day growing up. She would ask me almost every day of my life. She would ask me this. So I'm going to ask it to you. Cody Brundage, no nickname, Cody Brundage. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
How happy am I?
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good question. I would say I'm like an 8. I'm a happy guy. I have so many good things in my life, and I love fighting. Obviously, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it, but it's like I said, perspective is a crazy thing. Having kids gives you crazy perspective, and win or lose a fight, like as long as I'm being a good dad, being a good husband, friend, teammate, I'll stay happy in my life. Right. So yeah, I'm checking those boxes right now, so I'm happy.
Nice, buddy. You look good. You look healthy. You've always been kicking ass, man. You've been doing your thing. I've been a fan of yours forever. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's like a super honor to have you on. I'm so glad that you said yes. And thank you so much, man. Good luck. We'll see you at UFC 300. We'll be cheering for you all the way. Also, heads up, a lot of the guests of our podcast do very well. So
that's why I knew it. I just had an intuition. I knew. I said, if I do this, I know I will win this fight. And you gave me the insider info. Man, we're ready to rock.
Wait, hold on. Do you want to see it one more time? Let's just look one more time. Pay attention.
One more time. Perfect.
All right. Cody, thank you so much, man. It was a total honor to have you on. We will see you soon. Say hello to Mrs. Brundage for us, and all the best to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Have a good one, man. Take care. Bye-bye. Ringside Raine. That is Cody Brundage. What a guy. I like this guy. I really
I
like him.
know.
Yeah. He looks 18, 19.
I know.
Not one
I was like, how are you 30 years old? You look really
No, this guy looks young as heck. He's just such a nice guy, such a pleasant guy, you know, like, so yeah. Seems like he has a great family life, seems like he's got the right team around him. So I'm so happy for this guy, man. I want him to beat Bo Nickal so bad. Nothing against Bo Nickal per se, you know, because we're supposed to be even Steven as media type people, Raine. But like, I love it when the guy who's the underdog goes up against the hot prospect, blah, blah, blah. Like he said, they're thinking this guy wins. No, Cody's going to get in there and kick ass. I'm not saying it's thanks to us. I'm sure his training and preparation helps as well. But I can't wait to see it happen.
I have a good feeling about this.
So do I, man. The guy's so relaxed, so calm. There's nothing, right? So he's just going to go in there and kick ass at UFC 300. Dolly Parton walks him out to the cage. Could you imagine that?
It's in Las Vegas. I mean, like, that's just like a perfect scene for Dolly Parton to be like, you know.
Could you imagine? It would be so freaking amazing if that happened. Like, why not? God damn it, Dolly Parton. Why not? She's done it, seen and done it all. Yeah. Raine, let's get with some news. If you're here because of Cody Brundage, thank you so much. Thank you for watching the podcast. Follow, subscribe to us, do all that stuff. Check out all our past episodes. Fantastic. Isaac Delgarian, of course, his wife, Alexa Culp. Wonderful, wonderful people. You see it all here, right? We go all over the place. Raine, next week on the podcast, we do have at least one guest, but it's this person here, and I'm so excited to have her on. She is the new LFA flyweight champion. She's Canadian. Her name is Shannon Clark. Her submission victory is going viral online. I'll show you a quick clip because I think this is legalized murder, so I don't want to show it too long.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's really bad. It's a bulldog choke, cracks her neck back. I mean, oh my God. And the ref doesn't call it for far too long. And she's unconscious. Like when she lets it go, she's like a dead body in there.
Wow.
Anyways, forget the murder. Shannon Clark is on the podcast next week, so we will see her. She's an undefeated fighter. I think she's now maybe 5-0 in her pro career. I mean, she's UFC bound. So let's go. Canadian on the planet. Let's go get her into UFC. Let's go. Right?
Let's go. I need a Canada flags. Every time you say, let's go Canada, I'll be like,
what else we got? We got where is Chuck Buffalo? Hashtag where is Chuck Buffalo?
Where is Chuck Buffalo? We're still waiting for it.
Look, I'm still talking to him. The dude is still responding. He's still being nice and friendly to me. So it's going to happen.
We can't wait.
I can't wait. I haven't seen him do interviews anywhere else. Like if I see him do interviews elsewhere, I'm going to be really pissed off. But he seems to be laying low. But hashtag where's Chuck Buffalo still coming. Don't worry. We're going to get on that. Friends of the podcast update, go check out Rageworks Podcast Network at rageworksnetwork.com for other audio podcasts like ours. Go say hello to them. March 2nd, Canadian BKFC prospects, Robert Desharnais, former guest of the podcast. He makes his debut. And of course, headlining that card is Jade Masson-Wong. Very excited for her. Cannot wait to see her back in the cage and kicking ass. You may know her from her OnlyFans. That's not me, Raine. It's other people. PA FC, Palace Athena Women's Fighting Championship. Like we just said, Andy Wynn is going to be on that card. So is Regan Gowing. She's in Muay Thai bout. Kate Queen of the South Batchik and Lexi Brooke. All of our friends, they are all on that card. Cannot wait to see that one. Please do check them out. That's a local promotion. So same, Raine, you're over there at UNF in California. I'm up here with Fight League Atlantic out in East Coast Canada, right? These other promotions are so important to get your support. You know what I mean? Like buy those pay-per-views, help support those people because you want to see those organizations thrive and succeed, right? There's so many people working behind the scenes to make that work. That said, Raine, you were at UNF 16 on the weekend. You were kicking ass.
Oh my God, yes.
How was it? You announced the whole card.
I announced the whole card. Another great experience, another great learning experience. I announced my very first no decision bout. So that's,
Wait, what does that mean?
so there was a fight that ended in a no decision because of an accidental foul. And the one of the fighters couldn't continue anymore. So it ended in a decision. Yep. And
Wait,
a lot of people were disappointed because it was a title fight. But yeah, that's what happened.
was it the main event?
It was the main event. Yes, it was between Jesse Strader versus Francisco Rivera, who both have been on the UFC as well. So yeah, it ended in a no decision, and that was my first time announcing a call like that, and it was a great learning experience for me. Although I know for the fighters that wasn't a decision that they wanted, but for me, it was a learning experience for me. The crowd, they all had they had fun. There were people who are famous in the crowd. Got Nate Diaz. Yeah.
Nate Diaz was there. Corey Feldman was there.
Corey Feldman. Wait a minute. I don't remember seeing his picture.
Raine, this is because you're too young. You don't know who Corey Feldman is. He's an actor who was in The Goonies.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Right. But I've only seen, so I'm going by the pictures that I've seen. I know for sure I saw Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
But the other ones I did not. I only saw the pictures after the event.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm just like locked in with what I'm doing. But it's hard for me to kind of look around. There's so many people. But it's cool to see that, there's former fighters who would stop watch our show, support other fighters. I remember seeing Nate. He would go up to the corner of their fighter, and it's really cool to see that.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So I'm glad that it went well. What is the next UNF event that is on the schedule? Do you know?
Next UNF is UNF 17 on March 30th at the Marriott Burbank Convention Center. And guess what? Gianni Vasquez is defending his title.
I did see that. So former guest of the podcast, Gianni Vasquez, one of the nicest guys. I do talk to him quite a bit on Instagram. We're still he's one of the guys that I can kind of be friendly with. He was at UFC Mexico. He hangs out with Ricky Simone, I think. I saw that dude. So that's a nice little connection for us to make later, Raine. We'll try to, finagle our way into a Ricky Simone interview. But yeah, no, very, very cool. I do want to say Fight League Atlantic 14 is coming up for me out on East Coast Canada, as well as Submission Kumite 6 on the Friday night before. That is April 12th and 13th. Guys, go get your tickets. Mark your calendars, do whatever it is, go fly to Nova Scotia to watch this event. I'll see you there. Go out there and support Canadian talent. If you're anywhere close, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss these events. It's not expensive to get out there, man. Go out, visit East Coast, bring home some frozen seafood like I do every time for my wife, Cody Brundage. You got nothing on me. I bring home frozen seafood, cook it for my wife. It's so nice. It's so nice. Just go do it. Bring the wife, bring the kids, bring the girlfriend, do whatever. Have a good time out East Coast Canada. Go to Fight League Atlantic or watch the pay-per-view at fightleagueatlantic.com. But Raine, I'm so happy that you did a good job. Can I just say one thing? I don't want you to get mad, or I don't want you to be mad. You got your makeup done. Yeah.
My friend did it, by the way. Shout out to my friend Eros. Follow him on Instagram at Eros Mugler, I think. He did my that was Instagram stories. But no, he offered to do my makeup. He's like, hey, when's your next event? I'd love to do your makeup for you. And I was like, oh my God, sure. So he did my makeup, and I saw how I looked, and I really loved it. And it's
okay. So here's the problem.
What?
It looked really good. You're going to do it every time now.
I know, right?
You're stuck into doing it. No?
No. Now I have to do that now because now I set that standard. Now,
Because I think as a cage announcer, it's your image, right? Yeah. So once you kind of change your image, you can't now go back, right? So now you've changed the image, Raine. That's it. Oh. But congratulations on that. No, you look good. You did not have the pink jacket. What happened to the pink jacket?
No, because I have another friend who's altering my pink jacket. And so the pink jacket will probably make its debut at UNF 17. Guess what? I buy so many jackets and sparkly blazers. I have a bunch here and they're all going to get altered, right? Because I buy them in the if it doesn't fit right, I normally get them altered. And yeah, I have a bunch here lined up for the next show after UNF 17.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all in this. Like, I'm not changing to sparkly blazer.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, no, in the last episode, you talked to us about the fact that it was getting hemmed and stuff like that. Then when I saw the photos and there's no pink jacket, I'm like, oh, the hemming was delayed. So, okay. Yeah. Let's get on with a few topics that we're going to talk about today, Raine. Speaking of UNF, so UNF, you had an amazing crowd. Like, it was a good crowd, right?
Oh, yeah.
The crowd's pumped. It looks pretty packed. The crowd is rampant, you know. Then you go and look at what happened in Saudi Arabia at PFL versus Bellator. We really crapped on this card last week. I was giving it, you know, some digs. Here's a picture during the Clarissa Shields fight. Look at the crowd in the background, Raine. There are more empty seats than filled seats. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Thoughts, Raine, for the greatest card of PFL and Bellator history. Empty.
Yeah. So here are my thoughts. One would be probably it comes down to advertising the show, right? Because if people don't know that this thing is happening, then why would they buy tickets? Like, you know. Two, I don't know if PFL and Bellator, I don't know in terms of like their exposure in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if it's something that people saw, you know, the event and they're like, oh, PFL Bellator, you know, okay, what is that? And, you know, I don't know if that kind of contributed to that. Where it's like, I don't know what it is, so why would I buy a ticket for that? The other thing could be maybe people are like kind of, you know, skipping certain fights and they're not showing up until, you know, a certain fight. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe because this is on the undercard, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes in UFC events, it does get a little bit bleak at the beginning. But I don't know, man. They said it was a sold out crowd too. Like, I think it was like a few days prior. They go, sold out event.
Yeah, so maybe so now that I know that this is kind of like earlier in the night, then maybe that's the thing. People are just like kind of trickling in, and maybe towards the end there's people.
But that's a problem too. Then, like, frankly, to me, like if you're selling out an event, but they're only coming for the last fight, that's not good for your product. You know what I mean? Like, I would not say then that your product is still a success. Maybe your main event is the success. Which, to be fair, the main event of this card was not that illustrious that that's what people were doing. It wasn't Conor McGregor versus Chandler. You know what I mean? And people were like, screw the rest of the fights. You know, I only want to see Conor versus Chandler and Cody Brundage versus Bo Nickal. But, you know what I mean? So, no. Raine, I do not stream events, okay? I pay for my stuff. But I may have been told that you couldn't even find that event on streaming sites. Meaning even the illegal streamers didn't want to waste their time putting it up.
But here's the thing, though. There was also UFC Fight Night.
No, it was before. Nope. It was.
Oh, timing-wise, it was before? Yeah, okay.
It finished before the UFC even started.
So what time was the PFL Bellator pay-per-view?
I think it started around noon your time, Pacific. I think it was around 3 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
That said, Raine, the event goes off. We talked about it. Like, what the hell is this happening? It was not good. Bellator won almost every fight. Okay? They only lost one on the main card. That's generally what we were more looking at, right? But I'll put up a graphic just to show like who the winners were. But AJ McKee for Bellator wins. Yoel Romero for Bellator wins. Vadim Nemkov for Bellator wins. Jason Jackson for Bellator wins. Johnny Eblen for Bellator wins. He beats Impa Kasanganay in what was, many believe, possibly a robbery. It was very, very close. It was split decision, but congratulations to our friend Impa because he kicked ass and he went to a different weight class to fight Johnny as well. That was a good fight, but again, Bellator wins again. Then in the final event, the main event, Renan Ferreira from the PFL beats Ryan Bader. So the only PFL guy that wins is their heavyweight champion, right? Raine, tell me everything you know about Renan Ferreira. Go. We'll do the podcast long if you have too much to talk about. Go ahead.
That's basically it.
No. Some people are only listening to this on audio, Raine. You can't just throw up your hands.
I know. I don't know. There you go.
Raine, nobody knows a lot about this guy. And I apologize and I'm so sorry. But nobody really knows a lot about this guy. He wins in 20 seconds. Like, and some may say that's fantastic or whatever. But unfortunately, like that, when you win with like a flying knee in the first 10 seconds or something like that, luck has to play a factor. You know what I mean? Of course you threw the punch. Of course you threw the knee. Of course you did whatever. But geez Louise, you don't see a lot of fights go like that. So sometimes it's like a little bit, it's like, damn, So he loses like that. I mean, one thing I'll say is Bellator pretty much sweeps him, which shows that Bellator is the better goddamn product, right?
Or PFL, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, well, shit. Now that really shows that the Bellator fighters, as we all thought, are kind of that level above, which makes the purchase even more awkward, right? It wasn't like even Steven between PFL and Bellator. So that's number one problem. Then you get this main event, and before the main event happens, Raine, there's an interview with Francis Ngannou, who's supposed to maybe one day fight in Bellator. In PFL. Yeah. He does an interview with ESPN. Now the PFL pay-per-view is on ESPN Plus. Like you have to buy it on ESPN Plus or DAZN or whatever it's called, DAZN. He kind of says to the interviewer, yes, I plan to go back to MMA one day, depending on how my March boxing fight goes. And then the interviewer says like, oh, so you would face the winner of this heavyweight title coming up, like the main event? And he's like, well, possibly, yeah. First of all, it's possibly. Secondly, I don't think he's ever coming back to fight MMA, as long as his boxing career does anything decently well. Then, with this guy, Renan, winning the fight, there's almost no chance in hell Ngannou is coming back to fight this guy that really nobody knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for Francis Ngannou, it seems like he's enjoying his stint in boxing right now.
Yeah.
So maybe for him, he's enjoying what he's doing in a boxing world, but there's still that love for MMA. So maybe that's why he kind of hasn't closed the door in MMA.
Right.
That's the way I feel about Francis Ngannou.
Yeah. I think, yeah. And here's the thing, Raine. I don't want you to get in trouble. Okay. So.
Yeah, don't get me fired.
The opinions expressed by Timmy B do not reflect the opinions of Raine Cruz. I think that questioning and the angle of his answers were perhaps meant to help promote the pay-per-view in the next few days. I think he kind of answered the question in an open enough way that people might have been like, oh, I wasn't going to watch the pay-per-view, but now I will because I'm going to see the guy that Ngannou was going to fight next. And then like a whole bunch of pages online and on Instagram start going, he's going to face the winner of this event. I'm like, no, he's not. Like, did you guys watch the interview? Like, it's so stupid. But I don't know. And I just think like, yeah, like you said, he's doing really well with the boxing. And he says like, oh, it depends on what happens with March. That doesn't even mean he has to win. All it means is he has to perform well enough that someone will pay him $80 kajillion to box again. And the minute he does that, he's not going to go back. He's not going to make less money in the PFL or Bellator to like, and the thing is, Raine, like if he's training for boxing now, he's got to be training only boxing. There's no way Francis Ngannou is doing jiu-jitsu while he prepares for Anthony Joshua.
Jiu-jitsu warm up, and then like later on he does like boxing. No.
You know what I mean? He's not doing wrestling drills. He's not doing anything but focusing on boxing so that he can win his boxing fight. even if he wanted to go back to MMA, he'd have to be like, well, shit, now I've got to go back and train all this again. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. Do you think Ngannou would ever come back to fight and I don't mean this disparagingly, but like a normal fighter in MMA? We talked about this last week where DC like disrespected all the fighters by saying that. But here I'm saying, like, is Ngannou going to come back for like a one-off fight and fight like just the current Bellator champion? I don't think that's ever been the plan.
You know, I guess like for me, because Francis Ngannou is, a big star, right? Like, in the whole MMA now, like he's in boxing too. Honestly, I think it will just come down to like if the price is right. Because like I feel like if you reach that kind of level, right?
Yeah.
Now you can just pick and choose whatever fight you want, Yeah,
but Raine, you're like a super famous ring announcer now. So if some like Bumpkinville, lingerie MMA league comes around and goes, hey, Raine, we've got 12 people that buy our pay-per-view. Can you come ring announce for us? Even if they said we're going to pay you quadruple what UNF pays you, right? And from what I've heard, UNF pays you like $1 million an event. So they're like, we're going to pay you $4 million. Would you do it? You know what I mean?
No, probably no, because it depends on like, so to me, it's always about what I'm representing too. So
that's what I'm okay.
There's also like, okay, do I want to represent this outfit? Because at the end of the day, if they see me there, it's like, oh, Raine supports this, Raine supports that, or whatever. So
yeah,
that's my stance. But
already every week it's like you have to be like, should I really go on the Fight Inside podcast? I don't know. No, but this is what I mean, Raine. So like even you are saying like, hey, I wouldn't even want to associate my brand with this company. Francis, it's more than associating your name to the company. It's about the potential to lose to a guy that maybe nobody knows, or that, that lesser people know. Mm-hmm. That's very damaging to you, or damaging to your career, or damaging to your future prospects. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to pay me a lot of money to potentially lose to this guy in 20 seconds, like Ryan Bader just did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
right?
That's always the catch, right? If you take something like that, even though if the price is right, it's like, okay, what if that's, what if the fight ends in something like that, where Ngannou gets defeated by someone who basically people have never heard of? Yeah. If you look at it in a different way, though, it's like, it could be like Ngannou's way of like helping someone kind of push to the next level too. I mean, there's that other side of it too. I mean, if in his mind, it's like, you know what? I don't know who I'm fighting with, probably some kid from like wherever, but you know what? If he beats me, maybe that's a way for me to give back to someone who's trying to start their career. I don't know. That could be it too.
Okay. To be fair, for people that don't know Ringside Raine, aside from this podcast and UNF commentary, you are a wrestling fan. This is not wrestling, Raine. They're not passing the torch to the next young buck. This is like literally your life. They don't do that. They're not going to take a fight against some young guy and lose on purpose just to give this guy the torch.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to lose on purpose.
No. But like, I mean, even risk it. Like that's not a thing, man. No, I don't know. I don't know.
I was just,
I don't know. Are your dogs mad? Your dogs seem like they're mad.
They have an opinion about this, apparently.
Okay, well, let's also talk, like you said, about the young buck. Okay, so this is perfect segue. We're going to talk about, I don't know how to even say his name, Raul Rosas Jr.
Raul Rosas Jr.
Raul Rosas?
I mean, I'd pronounce it as Raul.
Raul,
yeah.
Raul. Okay.
Raul.
Yeah. Everybody knows this kid. He's the Mexican guy, the young kid, very, very big jaw. 18 years old or whatever he is, right?
19 now? I think he's now 19.
19. Okay. He's fighting friend of the podcast, Pretty Ricky Tercios, or Ricky Hadouken Tercios, as you may also know him from
Hadouken.
Ultimate Fighter fame.
I just said Hadouken.
Hadouken. Yeah. You got to say it properly, Raine, with emphasis. So he's fighting Ricky, right? Who, what, you called him an older guy because you're like, oh, he's 30. Like, he's
No, I just pointed out the age difference. I said,
yes, okay, fine.
Raul is like 19, and then like Ricky's like older. He's like 30 something, 30 years old.
30, 31. Yeah, okay. They're set to fight in Mexico. Now, Ricky, geez Louise, not Argentinian. He's half Filipino, half something. I apologize, Ricky. But fighting in Mexico against the Mexican kid, big prospect and whatnot. Literally, apparently, like minutes before they're supposed to fight, Raul says, not going, not feeling good. I've seen different reports online. Some say that he had a tummy ache. Some say that he had tummy problems. Some say that he was lightheaded and blah, 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 potentially from elevation and stuff like that. Maybe from the bad weight cut. But like he had his hands wrapped. Like he had his hands wrapped. He was ready to go. He's literally minutes away from his fight and he calls it off. Question to you, Raine. What would you think is the reason that he does this? Is there a conspiracy here that we need to investigate?
I mean, honestly, like for me, I know these things happen, I just at UNF, we literally were, I think, a fight away from
Gianni.
No, this wasn't. Oh, well, yeah, that too with Gianni. But like this past Saturday at UNF 16, we had a fight that got, I think we were like one fight away from this fight that got basically X'd out of the card. The fighters, they both came out for the parade, and the next thing I know, the fight's off. And it's these things happen.
What was the reason for your guy? Do you know?
I'm not sure what the reason was. I actually have not confirmed that. I just basically kind of like from my end, it's like when they tell me it's off. The most important thing for me at that point is like move on to the next one. Pivot from that point, right? Whatever reason, that's not for me to explain because I'm not really commentating, right? So to me, my job was, okay, pivot to like the next fight. But I've seen these things happen, and I don't, I see fighters, when they go into like the weigh-ins, they cut weight and all that, and they train hard for this, and they get to fight night, and sometimes I feel like unfortunate things happen, and they just have to back up from the fight. And for Raul, that's probably something that's probably disappointing for him, and to pull out from this fight because he's trying to represent Mexico, and he's probably really hyped up to do this fight, and then a few minutes before the fight he has to pull out from this. It's probably for him alone, he probably feels like bad for not being able to fight, whatever the reasoning is.
Yes.
He probably.
But I'm asking you to guess why he did it. Do you think it was like a tummy ache? Do you think it was a weight cut issue? Do you think it's something else?
I'm gonna say it might be something like physical, right? Like maybe the tummy ache, maybe something physical, right, where he feels like he can't fight.
Yeah. So the internet's abuzz with like different, speculation as to what this is. What I will tell you, Raine, and to the viewers of the podcast, it's funny that you mentioned that a guy this happened at UNF. Geez Louise. And I wish you could figure out what it is. Come back to us next week and see if you can find out what it was. Because it's interesting. I remember I was at one event for a Muay Thai competition, and we saw a guy walk to the ring, get in the ring, turn around, get out of the ring, and walk right out. It was the craziest thing that I'd ever seen. And it was nerves. We found out later from the coaches that it was just nerves. He was stressed out and freaked out. They begged him and prodded with him to go make the walk to the ring. When you get to the ring, things will be okay. You'll zone in. Just get to the ring. That's what you got to do. He walked in, turned around, walked right the hell out. These things happen, like nerves happen. I'll tell you a personal story. When I was a kid, I played competitive soccer. Like my whole life, played competitive soccer. And there was a period for maybe like 2 years, 3 years, I think, when I was around like 12, 13, 14, I literally threw up every game before the game started.
Because you're nervous?
And the doctor said it was just nerves. I wasn't nervous. I was like one of the greatest soccer players ever. Okay. Like, I'm just telling you right now, I'm not bragging. Like, that's literally what I was. And I just threw up every time. It was the weirdest thing. And my parents, I remember my parents were like, what's wrong? Like, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, like, I'm okay. But like, I would always throw up. And the doctor just said it was nerves. It was just some weird physical reaction that I had.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, it was just something, but and then I would throw up and then I would go and perform. Right. Like, and whatever. And I'd be the best. But, if it's nerves, right, for Raul, because if it was something medical, like if he was sick, you think now we're 2-3 days out, you think that they would have say, hey, he was diagnosed with blah. So the fact that no one is saying what he's diagnosed with or that anything, right? Like even if you were to say food poisoning, just say something to get it off. It really seems like it is nerves.
Okay.
No,
I mean, I don't think, if it is, I don't think it's like an issue because like.
But it's an issue, Raine.
Well, I forgot who mentioned this in a podcast, but someone in a podcast had said that fighting is, I think it was Johnny. He said it's not just about like a physical aspect, right? You train, you know the skills, whatever, but it's all like in your head too. It's mental, right?
Yeah.
And it's about being able to fight what's in your head or when you feel nervous. How do you fight it through your head that you can do it? You've trained for this. You're going to be fine. So I think being nervous and like what Cody said, he would still get nervous. So it's a part of the game. And I think for Raul, let's just say if that was the case, he got nervous. He's 19 years old. Yeah. He's starting his career. I think this is going to be a great learning experience for him. I read somewhere that the fight is going to happen, or it's been rebooked for next week.
No, that's why I sent you the thing. So this is like how I always get mad at media for saying false stuff and fake news crap. Ricky Tercios reposted someone's post. Ricky Tercios reposted somebody's post saying that the fight was rebooked and said, this is fake news. We haven't signed any contracts, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think so. I mean, here's the other thing, Raine, I'm going to go off on 2 quick tangents, but like when you prepare for a fight, you're prepping your body for that weekend. Like your nutrition, your diet, your weight cut, everything leads towards that thing. It's very science-based if you're doing it right. Your food, your proteins, your everything, so that your body is peaking for this fight. You can't just skip it and go fight next week. Sure. And like if you're Ricky Tercios, who is like one hell of a kid, I love this kid. Like Ricky Tercios, Raine, go watch our podcast with him. He's one of the best kids around, man. I know he's a 30-year-old man, you're going to say, but he's a great guy. He's a fellow Filipino, Raine. So jump on that bandwagon. He's a great kid. I don't want him to flip around and go the next week and feel forced to fight quickly on a turnaround. You know what I mean? Like you got to do smart.
Raul or Ricky, if you guys are listening,
Fight Inside podcast. Let's talk about this.
I did reach out to Ricky to see if he'd come on the podcast because I was like, hey, dude, I wanted to have you on to celebrate your victory. But if you'd be willing to come on to talk about, the emotions and stuff like that go on with this, I'd love to have you because he's a very smart, intelligent guy, very thought-provoking, very introspective. I'd love to get his emotions on this because what do you do now? And here's the kicker, Raine. You said that this is not good for Raul. You said that it's not a bad deal for Raul. It's okay. You'll get over this. But it kind of is bad because the promotion is like, hey, you idiot. We promoted the sugar out of your fight. You're supposed to fight here. You bail out minutes before. We've got a goddamn production we're running here. Like we count on you to be here for the commercial breaks and the whatever. Like you're just bailing out like this. What's our guarantee you're not going to bail out next time?
True. I agree on that. That's why to me, I just think that, if something like this happened, it's going to be a learning experience for the fighter who ended up having to remove himself or herself from a fight. So.
Yeah. And I just don't like to think that they are now going to push Ricky into accepting that fight, which was a great fight for Ricky, mind you. I feel like Ricky had a very, very good chance at winning this fight. Raul has a lot of hype behind him. So similar to Cody Brundage, hey, Ricky, go kick this guy's ass. And that's a lot of eyes on you. Fighting the Mexican kid in Mexico, it wasn't going to get any better for Ricky. You know, now what? You're going to fight him in like Kalamazoo? Who cares, right? It was the whole thing about it. So I don't know. That's a very, very interesting scenario, Raine. Like I hope that Raul gets better. I hope that he's okay. I hope that it's not nerves almost. I do hope it was like food poisoning, because at least then you could go like, hey, that's all it is. And now I move on. Yeah.
Yeah. And that way it's not going to be a bad look on him, right? Like you mentioned earlier, UFC had promoted him and all that.
Yeah. If I'm Raul's manager, I'm saying it's food poisoning right now. Like, just freaking lie about it and just say it's food poisoning. Get that story out there and get everybody off your back. Because if it's nerves, people are going to hit on that. Like, now people will use that against you, or the company might be upset with you, blah, blah, if it's just like a mental thing. And in truth, if it's a mental thing, like, good God, like that could spiral, and you don't want this kid's career to go bad because of this, but I don't know. Yeah.
I just want to say that, so if this fight didn't end up happening, I know there was something else that happened within the crowd at the UFC event in Mexico. Did you see that video of like the fans like having a brawl?
Oh yeah, that guy got knocked out of the night. He got 50 G's. The fan that like knocked two dudes out in like 10 seconds. Yeah. The second guy he knocked out looked very old too. Like, dude, you should not be like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dana White said that he ran over there and did not see any security. So they just basically let the fight, happen and end at some point. So,
I mean, look, I'm doing this from an undisclosed location in bunker, but stuff happens in Mexico, dude. There's a lot of stuff that you hear about, and
people get knocked out at UFC fights apparently. But
I mean like criminal stuff.
Oh.
I mean criminal stuff, like there could be a little payday to a security guard, like, hey, you go away, I'm going to go knock some guy out, right? Or
I don't think so. There's probably some people get drunk and then
No, but there's supposed to be security everywhere, Raine. Like,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Where was the security? Like, if Dana White goes over there, it's like there's no security. Well, where the hell's the security, dude? Like, and the fight doesn't happen in 2 seconds. Like, there's rumblings and crap that happens. I don't know. I want to say Corey Feldman, Raine, who you did not get a photo of. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Gremlins, The Goonies, Stand By Me, and The Lost Boys, all of his major movies.
Wow, that's amazing.
Raine, I can see by your utter lack of excitement that you don't know any of those movies I'm talking about.
I've heard of The Goonies. Here's the thing,
my God. Heard of The Goonies, Raine?
I'm
canceling this podcast. You haven't seen The Goonies?
No, here's the problem, okay? I am not good with movies. I have not seen Star Wars. I have not seen Harry Potter. I'm the worst.
It's really hard for me to keep being your friend, Raine. You're really making a challenge. You haven't seen Goonies? God dang.
No.
Goonies is one of the greatest. Gremlins? You never seen Gremlins?
No.
With little Gizmo? I mean, maybe that one.
Gremlins, but I've not seen it. So, I
don't even know what to say. If Corey Feldman is there next time, he's probably watching this podcast. He's going to be like, that stupid ring announcer, she doesn't even know who I am. He's not waving at you.
Problem, though. It's like, I see people, right? Remember, when I told you about Chris Lieben? And you're like, Chris Lieben, you're now working with Chris Lieben. I was like, yeah. He's one of the refs.
Yeah. No, that said, Corey Feldman, it's hard to recognize him. He doesn't, those movies are from 1984. So literally 40 years ago, he was a young, cool kid back then. Now he's a man, right? So it's fine that you don't recognize him. But if someone said to you, that's Corey Feldman, you're supposed to know the movies. So anyways, that's fine. Raine, okay, we're running down on time here. Did you get a fist bump?
No.
I knew it because you would have messaged me and said, got a fist bump.
Yeah. No, but I got like, a few nods and, from like the fighters. And I guess like, cause right now we have like a bunch of like camera people. So sometimes like camera guys are like in front of the fighter as I'm announcing them. So they can't really like walk towards me. I cannot walk towards them. Right. Cause they're trying to get a shot of the fighter. So, no, I did not get any fist bumps, but I got like fighters telling me, or giving me a nod while I was announcing them. After the show, I saw some of the fighters and, they're, coaches, and they would tell me, "Oh my God, thank you so much for announcing him," and blah, blah, blah. And it's really nice. It's always good when, they appreciate what I do because, I do this, I announce them the way I do because I have so much respect for people who step inside the cage, and because I know they've done so much training just to be inside that cage, and then to have that, to be brave enough to fight. It's amazing.
Yes. And update to the fans of the podcast: Khalil Pearson did not fight. Apparently, his opponent pulled out like a few days prior, so unfortunately, he was not there. But I think he will be fighting soon. I'm very excited to hear that our good friend Gianni is going to be fighting soon because I love that dude, man. He's starbound for sure. I think that's it, Raine.
I'm just going to say that Gianni is going to defend his title at the same venue where he won it. So I don't know if this is going to be a good luck for Gianni. I think it's a good matchup between him and his opponent. But yeah, that was the same venue where I first announced Gianni, where he won the title, and he will be defending it again on the same place.
Beautiful. Look,
March 30th.
Gianni could be fighting in a parking lot. He could be fighting at a Jollibee kitchen. Doesn't matter. He would kick ass wherever it is. He's going to keep that title. He's going to win. He's going to do fantastic things. I love this kid. His mental game is dead on. He's such a smart kid. Good looking kid. Champion. Good fighter. He's bound for greatness. I'm so happy for him. Again, that's it for the podcast, Raine. Great episode today. I'm so glad we met Cody Brundage. As we are talking, as we're recording this, I got a message from Shannon Clark. She says she is super excited to be on the podcast next week. So we will see her. Hopefully she's not in jail. Maybe she'll be conducting the podcast from jail if the authorities see what she did to that girl. But yeah, we'll have her on. Maybe a second guest. I don't know, Raine. I know you like having two guests, but I do like.
I know, just because it's like, we get to like.
But then we don't get to talk.
Well, I like talking to other people.
So disrespectful, Raine. So disrespectful. That's fine. Okay, we're out of here. If you're listening on audio, that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much. If you're on video, if you're on YouTube, we're going to put up a couple of videos here. Maybe I'll put the Gianni one since we spoke about Gianni, and maybe the Isaac Dulgarian one since we just spoke about Isaac Dulgarian and I had his card that I purchased. Guys, this is another call out to go support fighters, right? Go support your local fighters. When they do merch and stuff like that and they sell things, go buy their stuff, man. It costs you like cool. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. This card is beautiful. I'm showing it on screen. Yeah, it's like all foil and everything. It looks good. Got his signature. Cody guaranteed me that he's going to be champion. So this is this is going to be my retirement fund right here, Raine. Yeah, like go support people. Go do good things. Like I said, buy the UNF cards. Go visit them. Go come out to Nova Scotia with me and go check out Fight League Atlantic. It's a doubleheader weekend. If you're going to go out to the East Coast Canada, why wouldn't you do it? That's it. We're good, Raine.
I just want to say, where is Chuck Buffalo?
Hashtag where's Chuck Buffalo?
I'm wait to speak with you.
God damn it, Chucky. Let's go. He will come. He will come. Raine.
People we don't bite.
Well, I don't know. You've been taking shots at me all podcast. Goodbye.